Today we take you on a journey of Professor Alok Bhattacharya, highlighting some of the key milestones of his illustrious career. Alok was born to Aarti and Bholanath Bhattacharya in 1951. He was the eldest among three siblings, including a brother and a sister. His grandfather moved to Delhi in the 1920s when the British shifted their capital from Calcutta to New Delhi. Thus, Alok is a Dilliwala who has done his entire schooling from RAISINA Bengali School, Gol Market, where he passed his higher secondary exam in 1967. Thereafter, he did his bachelor's in science and chemistry honors from Hansraj College, Delhi University, followed by a master's in chemistry from IIT Kanpur. These institutions played a vital role in stimulating his passion for science at a very early age. RAISINA Bengali School at the time boasted of a very strong science teaching faculty. Hansraj College, as you all know, remains one of the forefront colleges in Delhi University. And at the time, the chemistry department in IIT Kanpur was led by the one and only Bharat Ratna, Professor C.N.R. Rao, and was the most happening place in the Indian scientific fraternity that produced numerous luminaries in the scientific field, including Alok. Alok had the vision to foresee that the real excitement lay in biology. And just in the nick of time, JNU happened to open a new school of life sciences, of which Alok was part of the first batch of the MPhil PhD students. As destiny had planned, Professor Ashish Datta, a young and dynamic researcher from the lab of the Nobel laureate Severo Ochoa, also joined SLS as a faculty at the time, and Alok happened to be his first PhD student. Together, they did some remarkable work on inducible gene expression in yeast under some very challenging circumstances during those early days of JNU. Alok graduated with his doctorate degree in 1977 and then immediately went to NIH for his postdoctoral studies. The first postdoc was done in the lab of Barbara Vonderhaar, where he worked on hormone receptor interactions related to breast cancer. This was followed by his decision to move into the field of immunology, for which he joined the lab of Timothy Springer at Harvard Medical School, where he focused on MHC gene polymorphism and expression using the state-of-the-art hybridoma technology that had just emerged. During his postdoc tenure, Alok made a lot of friends like Conrad, May, Sisir, and many more. But his best friend was always the one and only Sudha, whom he had known since their PhD days. Their friendship got culminated in their wedding in 1979 in Boston. In 1981, both Alok and Sudha moved back to India. Firstly to the Department of Biochemistry at AIIMS in New Delhi, and thereafter in 1982 to Tata Consultancy Services in Pune. In 1982, two big game-changing events occurred in Alok and Sudha's life. On the personal front was the birth of their daughter Shilpi. Shilpi, as you all know, is the real boss in Alok's life. And second, on the professional front was their meeting with Shiv Pillai. Shiv was a student of Professor Bimal Bachawat and was already working at the Kothari Center for Gastroenterology in Calcutta. And it was Shiv who was instrumental in introducing both Alok and Sudha to the pathogen ENTAMOEBA histolytica, which at the time was creating a lot of havoc in the form of Amoebiasis, a widespread disease endemic to a number of regions of India. Research on ENTAMOEBA histolytica at the time in India was limited to few clinical labs, and it was clear to them that in order to apply the emerging tools of molecular and cellular biology to study ENTAMOEBA histolytica, one would need to learn how to culture the parasite in an exenic form. Dr. L.S. Diamond was a pioneer in the exenic cultivation of ENTAMOEBA, Giardia, and other parasites, and happened to be a frequent visitor to India. It was during one such visit that Alok and Sudha met him, and he readily agreed to host them in his lab at the National Institutes of Health NIH in Bethesda. Through a World Bank Robert S. McNamara fellowship, both Alok and Sudha went for a short stint in the Louis Diamond lab at NIH, and thereafter they have never looked back by establishing and leading a molecular parasitology program at JNU focused on ENTAMOEBA histolytica that has been recognized worldwide. Alok joined JNU, the School of Life Sciences, in 1986 as an associate professor and initiated a program on molecular parasitology, incorporating it into the MSc teaching syllabus. Under his leadership, the current DBT-sponsored program on molecular parasitology was initiated, where faculty from 4 different schools of JNU have participated. Apart from parasitology research, Alok has immensely contributed in enriching the academic life of SLS. He is a teacher who's loved among his students, but feared by the students for probing questions he invariably asks in their presentations, and for the open book, insolvable questions in the exams. He initiated the BioSparks series of seminars for and by the students, which has become the most popular annual event at SLS. He also initiated the in-house teaching of bioinformatics at SLS, which has no doubt helped generations of MSc students get trained on this subject. Alok started his own lab in SLS in a small room with 2 students. From the very start, his passion and excitement about science spread to his group members. In no time, the research program was in top gear, and in due course of time, the scope of the program expanded with the addition of new lab members. There was already a steady stream of papers coming from the group. This brought national and international recognition to Alok. Alok was soon to be considered a leader in the field of amoebiasis, and he organized 3 international meetings on amoebiasis in India over the years, bringing in experts and researchers from all over the world to this country. Alok's scientific contributions to the field of amoebiasis and leadership resulted in his name being included in International Amoeba Genome Consortium. Alok's keen interest in the area of bioinformatics led him to become the founder dean of the School of Information Technology, which is now known as SCIS, the School of Computational and Integrative Sciences, where he established a PhD program. Alok was elected to the Goa Research Conference and is a fellow of the Indian National Science Academies. Alok serves as the Vice President of INSA, a position which he has been in since 2011 to 2013. Alok was conferred the prestigious Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award in the year 1994, and more recently the Aryabhata Medal for his outstanding scientific contributions. During his career, Alok has had several extremely fruitful scientific collaborations with colleagues in India and abroad. These include Nancy Gillian, Bill Petrie, Tomo Nozaki, M.R.N. Murthy, Chari, Ram, and Vishwakarma. The students trained in his lab have gone on to take up leadership positions in India and abroad. While science occupied the bulk of Alok's mind and space and effort, he always found the time to pursue his other interests. During his JNU days, he developed a keen interest in filmmaking and spent a lot of time learning about the art of filmmaking. Alok is an avid bird watcher, having been introduced to it by none other than Louis Diamond. Early on, Alok recognized that for a lab with so many members to be able to work as a cohesive unit and be productive, it was important to engage in group activities that would help the members gel with each other. One of the regular extracurricular activities his lab engaged in was the organizing of picnics. In the early years, the venues were in Delhi, and later on were places around Delhi. Over the years, the picnic goers not only included the current students, but also students who had graduated from the lab and their families. All the participants have fond memories of these events. These picnics provided opportunities to sharpen one's skills at games like cricket and mixing and having a good time. Another lab activity which the students have always enjoyed is cooking at Alok and Sudha's home. This is primarily due to Alok being a foodie who loves both cooking and eating. On the flip side of the highly passionate and sincere scientist that Alok is, he also knows how to relax and enjoy nature. His hobbies include an interest in history, and you can see him trying to fit in the period of Mirza Ghalib. Also, if you don't know, he has a great fondness for antique cars. He enjoys traveling and has visited many great locations both in India and across the world, both in his professional and personal capacities. Above all, he is a great human being and loved by both colleagues, friends, and family. The great strides and achievements made by Alok would not have been possible without his wife and colleague Sudha. As the saying goes, behind every man there is a successful woman. While Alok may be officially retiring, but given his passion and excitement about science, all of us are certain that he will continue to contribute to the science enterprise in this country in many other ways. Dear Alok, we all wish you all the best for the future.